Prime Icarus, I mean, ahead of hero kills, but I mean, monitoring the game, it's hard to tell really where that game's going to end up. We'll just have to keep an eye on how the score plays out there. So, definitely some fun things to talk about. All right, Tremble. By the way, the initial bands, it was Ophelia Devourer, so I played Madman. I like the Devo band, and then even Ice Like goes like, nice Devo. Yeah, some respect there. But Tremble coming out. All right, here we go.
Yeah, man. This is what I was saying in game one. I honestly didn't think we was going to see it this game or this series, but clearly Tremble's such a big impact and such a kind of a higher tier pick now, from what I hear on the competitive scene, that I guess we're going to come see it here. I'm assuming it's going to be in the hands of Balthazar, to be honest. I don't think they're going to play it in some kind of weird suicide role, but this is Tree, so I'm not going to rule it out, put it simply.
Yeah. Man, you know, also thinking about last game too, just on the Ravener hero, the Ravener performance overall, and again, yet another loss for that hero. I think it's not 1 in 10 overall or something like that. Honestly, I just think Ravener's just one of those heroes that's like great in TMM. He can dominate, he can take you to wreck games, but in competitive, just he does not work.
It works, man. He's being a carry though. Like, what all these weird Ravenel players picking up portal keys, man. Just don't do it.
Yeah, it's I mean, the record kind of states. It's just
don't do it.
Let's just stop picking him up.
No, the hero's great. They just need to put him in the short lane.
You can say that all you want. With the record
there's going to be on the World Finals last game. They could carry Ravenel.
That's going to be the difference maker. That would be something.
It will be.
All right, but anyways, continuing on game number 2 here in the draft. So yeah, we are going to see the Tremble here. He just got reinstated to now. According to your stats, he hasn't played 100. I thought he actually was played. I thought he was eligible, or was he not eligible since the beginning of the season? I guess okay. I'm having trouble remembering now, but he was removed. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, it's after the qualifiers where he then was removed.
He was pretty broken.
Yeah, I mean, it was for good reason. He's been toned down quite a bit, and now he's actually back and eligible. But as you're pointing out, I mean, as we see a first pick here from Tree, he's still a strong hero in the right hand, so something to worry about. And yeah, Thunderclaw, I think, could be a possible item for him.
It's core on him.
Changes to that, core as you put it. So, anyways, there are more heroes in the game. You got Flux once again and Kinesis. Look at Don's lineup, though. That's pretty strong over there. Kraken, Torture, Tempest. Very AoE-centric. And, hey, nothing wrong with Kraken here.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope they put Probosk on a carry hero. Like, I don't know, him playing mid just felt so... Like, it just felt wrong, but simply, it just feels weird. Like, I mean, he did alright, honestly, and some of his trumps were okay. It's just the strategy and kind of the kind of whole ethos of Ravenor, I just felt wasn't played correctly, but not really to the fault of Proboss per se. I just think he needs to be played on a short lane, give him a carry hero, a hard carry hero, and just let him dominate from then on, really. Don't give him kind of anything other than that.
Yeah. Follow-up bands here. You got Keeper, Glacius, Warbeast, Engineer, Silhouette, Andromeda. Interesting there. Now, Warbeast is the one that really stands out to me, honestly. It's very worthy of the ban, by the way. Now, he already considered a fairly, strong hero in certain cases. He got some buffs this last patch, which is kind of crazy to see. And it was kind of funny when, again, I was doing those interviews with a couple people. I did with I did with yourself, I did with Probuska, Slapped, and What You Got. Zlapped and What You Got, they both labeled Warbeast as great changes because, hey, guess what? They play the hero and they love it. Probusk labeled it as a bad change because, guess what? He plays against it and he hates playing against it and he thinks it's going to be ridiculous. So I think Warbeast could end up being one of these top-tier heroes once again.
He will be.
So.
Particularly when Sync play, without a doubt.
Yeah.
They're dirty Warbeast pickers, man. Lodestone, yes! We finally see, man, this hero is so sick. Oh, I'm so glad to see him. And he works so well as well. Like, a lot of AoE synergy, like, just Lodestone pile on more and more. But Moira, an excellent counter to all this AoE synergy, man. That is, if you want to talk about counters, right there is a Moira
great. Hey, it's a Tempest Stopper. It's a Tempest Stopper on top of even Riftwalker here. So
and oh man, there's so much AoE synergy and so much AoE damage from Pokemon, and if Fujin can get a nice Arcane Vortex on it, like, it's going to completely nullify the whole objective and the whole kind of strategy of Pokemon, put simply. The one kind of question mark I have is, can a support be able to pull that off. I mean, we saw it with Tree do it before, but that was when Boxy was playing it on the suicide lane, and he had a great impact on it. But can Mora as a as a first support really be that impactful
Exactly.
with the arcade box? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously,
I'm a little. There is part of me exactly because one, as you say, that they're playing him as more of a main support here. We had seen in the box as a suicide. It was fun. As Solstice, God, that is just crazy AOE there on Dom. That you can tell what their mindset is. But going back to Moira real quickly, also her Q ability, the Shards of Harkon here. It's again a very strong tool, but they don't have that initiating kind of hero necessarily to apply that to jump and say like a Magmus or even like a Wretched Hag to blink in or something like that. So it's still a powerful tool, but yeah,
they
that's
got
true.
the flux discharge, but no, I agree with you, Breaky. Like, not someone's like perfect. It's like like a range stun, for example, is completely perfect. But yeah, and I mean, I love the idea of what Fusion's like. Hey, if they've got all this AOE damage, I'm just going to completely nullify with the good and well placed Arcane Vortex. But as like a main support, like whenever we see Fusion, he has Striders and just like wards practically in his inventory. And like, would he be able to place that without kind of a portal key, without a tablet, and with such low levels, is he going to get bursted down before he can even get it off? All these questions, I guess, will be answered. But I don't know. I don't really see it happening, particularly if Pokemon are really quite keen on burst down Fusion before you can get that off. Otherwise, our team fights are going to lose, put simply. So, at the same time, though, Pokemon Draft. I mean, we talk about AOE synergy, and they've definitely got it. I mean, I'm liking that Proboss is on a Soul Stealer, a sort of a hard carry hero, because we have seen him play a lot of Soul Stealer, and he's actually played incredibly well. Has great high GPM, and really does start to dominate with it. And
what is going on here?
Man, they know what they're doing, put simply, with this hero.
Look at this. Lodestone going to interact with Flux a little bit, but yeah, you see, there goes the first Terror Mount, technically the second one, as he plays one back at base, of course, but it's a Terror Mount way up there, and yeah, he's setting up. Now, I don't think he was spotted. I don't know if he was actually seen by Dawn. And
Tree specifically did that as well. They ran as all 5 so they could help and sort of box out Pokemon so Battlestar can get that Terra Mountain down. Because, for example, if all 5 of Tree don't go with him there and Pokemon have like 2 or 3 heroes stationed at that top lane, Trevor won't be able to do that, for example. So just even more sort of good coordination and sort of synergy with Tree coming out again.
Yeah. Shout out to Poop Generator for the sub to the channel. It was a fun name. But yeah, shout out to all the subs for that matter. Again, we don't offer much in the end, but it's great to see that support. So shout out to you, good sir, or ma'am, whatever you may be. All right, but yeah, again, so the mount is there, was not seen, and so that gives him a chance. What's that?
Cora?
Oh no, is he gonna? Yeah, he does. He snipes it off. Look, I mean, Tree is just on point, man.
Oh my god! Like Fusion only did that to block the pool. And then he gets a courier with it as well. Yeah. And look, they even would have rev it as well because they thought he's blocked it, but no, it was just the Ephemeral Forge.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, first, Tree just seemed so prepared. Put simply, in game 1 they had the Vowed Rot with the Devourer. I know it's only a small thing, but this as well, and then the Tremble. Man, Tree, they seem very, very well prepared. And Pokemon, it just feels like they're picking up heroes that they think they might work. But Tree, they definitely come up with a strong start to. Without doubt.
Yeah, that's impressive play to start things off, and you do see bottom lane. Of course, that's where Tremble ultimately ends up, as Mora's coming bottom
as well.
now. Yeah, Lowestone's in trouble.
Look what they've done. Yeah,
a lot of trouble. Yeah, look at all the trees gone. That's what you're talking about there. But Lodestone, okay, he's going to be fine. But yeah, that's why would they do that?
The reason why it allows Lodestone to get completely boxed out. If he has trees here, he can sort of juke around in the trees, and what could happen is that the tree supports could easily pull the lane from the creeps. But if they clear all the creep kills, they can box out Lodestone from level 1 because they can see him. That he's not going to be sort of hiding in trees right there. The one thing obviously is that Lodestone can obviously see the supports coming as well, but that's not the biggest factor because Lodestone, he shouldn't really die from the supports anyway, because he has the great escape mechanism. But with this now, the supports from Tree can easily just box him out without too much harassment from the creeps, for example.
Yeah, so definitely Tree again doing some practice here and making the best use of it. Look at Riftwalker in this positioning. Lodestone completely boxed out here on the wrong side that he wants to be on. You see Riftwalker applies that Rift Burn of hers and actually doing a little bit of extra damage. But Lodestone, as you mentioned, I mean, going to be fine, really. It's just a matter of keeping him out of experience range. And that's exactly what they're doing here.
Because if the trees are there, like Lodestone could easily sort of just hide in this tree and get a lot of XP. But with this, you know, the trees are all completely gone. Supporters can see if he pushes up, and if he pushes up, they can box him out. And if they can keep Lodestone down to a good extent, and they can easily box him out. Mid lane though, Kraken does charge back Flux. He should be fine though.
Gonna be fine, yeah. Close action there though, between the two. So yeah, the conscious decision though by Tree to ultimately send down the dual support bottom lane. As you see Lodestone using the illusions right here to kind of disorient them a little bit, but I'm guessing Root of Z is eventually, I mean we see this, or we used to see this, eventually going to start trying to get some jungle going on here, but...
Like, Zippy has actually blocked the hard camp. I think they're going to try and keep the pool camp sort of stacked as much as possible. But I think the main thing is they're going to try and shut down this Lodestone, because Lodestone, the hero, is great and all, but he really does need the portal key to be effective as well, because although the Rocket Drill is okay initiation, it is nowhere near as useful as a portal key, for example. And if they can stop that from happening, then Pokemon might be in a little bit of trouble, to be fair. Because I mean, if you think about it, though, where's Pokemon's catch? They have no kind of catch except for maybe like portal keys on all of them. And if they can stop that from happening, then Tree will be in a good position. So locking them down is wherever they can.
Wow, that is something there. You see Tree's draft. All five heroes in combined have only picked up 27 times out of 1960 picks. So we're stressing on, you know, heroes alone like the Moore and especially the Tremble, but yeah, Riftwalker again, that's a Tree hero, but only picked up by them. You got Flux, in a sense, only a Tree hero for the most part. Yeah, even Kinesis picked up mainly by them. So this is a very unique lineup coming out from Tree all across the board here, and well, still still very small. So that's the point, and it still stands there. But anyways, taking a closer look at the stats against Soul Stealer, being played by Provosk. Of course, he's having a great start here as expected. Here in the top lane, he's level 5, but look at Kinesis. I mean, he's level 4 compared to a Lodestone that's level 2 right here. Yeah. He's definitely having the better time in the end.
Obviously, you have to realise that obviously Tempest is going to be out farming the supports from Tree, but that's important to note that obviously if you pick up Tempest, your laning stage is a little bit weakened compared to running 2 secondary supports. And because Bok is technically really in just a 2v1 situation compared to a 1v3 situation like Lodestone, he is going to have a bit of a better farm, which is to be expected.
Yeah. Yeah, I love seeing this Moira here, but I will say, you know, still level 1 Moira. It's a little bit concerning with that said. At 5 minutes in, starting to get those levels up here a little bit, it would be somewhat ideal. I mean, Ephemeral Forge is a strong tool, yeah, that's how we saw him snipe a courier right off the bat, but without her other abilities, especially her Shards of Harkon, it does make it a little bit less impactful, safe to say, so wants to at least get level 2 here to be of decent assistance, and that's honestly a great thing about Moira as well. She's not a support that needs levels. So, you know, there are some out there that, you know, could use at least a good amount of levels. Yeah, exactly. She's just like, I'm on level 3 and I'm fine, basically. That's what Moira
I have a lot of thoughts of Monarch, but we'll have to wait if we see it today. Hopefully we will. But going back, I mean, Lodestone actually, I think he had his change to his Lodestone plates actually, which I think they're a little bit more effective, so he can be a lot better against any harassment, and that's why he's doing quite well actually. Normally, if you're going against a tri-lane, most of the time actually Suicides would probably be level 1, level 2, but he has actually got level 3 because of these Lodestone plates, I think actually. Like every single time he comes up to lane, Fusen and Root of Zeal pounding as many auto attacks as possible, but because of the Lodestone plates actually, he's not taking too much damage actually, so doing decent overall.
The top lane there, Boxy. Torture actually went on him first, but now Serenity is backfiring. Oh no. God. What great turnaround for Boxy, but yeah, if you're Torture right there, I don't know what he was ultimately thinking, honestly, because, you know, he's the only one that had a stun, and he missed the stun initially, and he still was kind of committing somewhat, and Boxy was just very quick to react to it initially, and obviously says the turnaround. In fact, there we go, Flux with the discharge, now Soul's in some trouble himself. He goes for a Demon Head, he lands the first one, can he land the second one? He does, but it's not enough damage for the kill, and down it goes Soul Stealer. And look at this, it wasn't even necessary, but Boris is here. Just in case he might have somewhat gotten away, and that's the power of the mountain. So now they know the mountain's here, however. And so that's almost like, it sucks that it wasn't needed, because it kind of exposes it now, but
it's still decent though. They killed the Soul Stealer, which is the most important thing, really. And yeah, I mean, this is probably the one issue obviously with Soul Stealer as a hero. Like, you know, he can easily be easily be ganked, and that's why we never ever really saw him as a solo mid in the competitive scene. And they, obviously the competitive scene have tried to rationalise that by putting him in the short lane, but obviously with Tree, they have ways of ganking the Soul Stealer in whatever lane he's in. So just good play came out from Tree altogether.
Now, they took out the mounds up here, but Boris is still here, actually, and he puts down another mound, yeah. I don't think they realized that, because he was actually invis on the mound when they destroyed it.
They don't have vision into this tree line as well, so they won't know that's here unless they go check it, so... That's actually quite crazy, actually. But yeah,
on Tremble, by the way. That's GPO.
Because first time in Thunderclaw as well, and oh man, again, there's so much synergy in this draft break. Like, I mean, do you remember when Tree were picking up like a Alonia as short lane carry, or what was the other hero they liked to pick up? Oh, what was it, bro? Not Flynn. There was another hero. It was Alonia and another hero. It wasn't Doctor Repulsor. Anyway, it was a hero that could farm the jungle very, very well from early levels. And this just screams Tree for me right now, because I've mentioned it a little bit before in cast, but whenever... it's Soul Stealer, was it? It was Soul Stealer. Soul Stealer and Alonia that they used to play a lot. Okay, and what they used to do is that they'd stack the jungle as much as possible, and then when the Soul Stealer would get level 7, for example, he'd go into the jungle and farm all the jungle, and then they'd leave the lane for the secondary support. And again, obviously gets another kill.
Oh man, they were running in to gank him. He's like, nope, I got you first, bitches. Torture also going to be picked off, and a double tap for Boxy, and that's just embarrassing. And that's all because of this Ward Sight. Obviously, the Ephemeral Forge, Mora also assisting right there. Level 2 shards of Harkon. Oh, geez. What? I mean, it was just amusing, honestly, seeing that. As they're coming in for run, he just mass controls and explodes Tempest right off the bat.
But yeah, so just going back to the sort of strategy of Tree, like they get the items or the farm they need on their carry player, and then they put them in the jungle. So although they don't run a jungler, they almost run their carry as a jungle. It's like a carry jungle strat once, level 7, level 8. And this is just so efficient because now the secondary support has a lane to farm. Bottom lane, talking of that support though.
Riftwalker in a little bit of trouble. Tempest coming in. There's the elemental void, and that will secure the kill here. So again, as we always state, it's especially earlier on in the game, using it to at least if it secures one kill, it's definitely worth it. And that it does right there. So finally getting on the board does Dawn. They're still down 41 hero kills, though, and it could get a little bit worse right here. Kraken, he gets pulled in. There's a charge. Now he's still got entangled, however, by the Boris pet right there. And now Kraken releases Kraken, a pretty good placement. Torture comes in with the sun. Kraken going to survive. Actually has a regen. He pops it. Torn out of flux. The auto attack, not enough. The bottle charges. Big plays from Labyrinth right there. Able to stay alive, and Air Soul student with the turnaround. Treble gets killed. What a turnaround for Dawn. And boy, oh boy, do they need that with the way things were looking here in game number 2.
Yeah, like that was actually just good play coming from Proboscis as well. He came in like they were not going to score the kill on the Tremble if he didn't rotate in, and now they're going to start pushing actually the 2-1 tower mid, and they can do that though. Level 8 Tempest, and I don't think Tree are really wanting to take this team fight, seeing as they have all this kind of AoE synergy. They're going to try and slow him down with Riftwalker, but it might be enough to sort of scare him off away actually.
Yeah, that's obviously right there exactly. That's where. Pokemon Club or Town, whatever, they're going to shine, is that AoE synergy, the team fight potential. That's what they drafted for. So if you're a Tree, you're being very careful where you pick and choose these fights right here.
Yep.
And that's why they just back off in the end, especially after what just happened right there. So, but yeah, good fight back from Dawn, and now a little bit more farm progressing once again for Soulstew there. Kraken also had 312 gold per minute. Again, he even survived throughout all of that. Looked like for sure he was going to die, but...
Yeah, I mean, if you think of the lineup from Pokemon as well, like I think their draft and their sort of strategy is a lot easier to execute than it is for Tree. But Tree, obviously, clearly, as we've seen before, very, very much prepared in every little thing they do. But you see Pokemon, like all they need to do is wait maybe for an overextension from Tree and then take a team fight. It's not too hard as long as you can land your spells. But as for Tree, there's obviously a lot of intricacies in the sort of the strategy. But they're still pulling it off quite well. Actually, middle lane Kraken.
Yeah, they're going for it. More portion with the Ephemeral Forge, but not even nearly in time. And yeah, eventually has to go away. Now, I'm a little bit curious, again, a very minor thing, but I'll say level 3 Moira is considered pretty strong, but she actually chooses to pass up her W, aka the Mana Sunder. And I'm a little bit curious about that, because again, it is kind of one of those 1.1 abilities where it, in a sense, applies a silence to most heroes, at least for the couple of seconds before it starts regenerating. The 1 second in this case, but still, that's a 1 second silence. So is really that extra point in Ephemeral Forge or Shards of Harkon that worth it early on? I don't know.
I think it's somewhat decent because although it's only 4 seconds, actually Kinesis got haste trying to maybe go for the torch now. He's going to back off, pretty the safe play to make. There's two reasons really. First of all, the extra 4 seconds can make a difference as well because like for 10 seconds you have kind of a small sort of window to really make the gank happen. And with those extra 4 seconds, you can try and make a gank happen. And even if the timing's wrong, the extra 4 seconds can make a difference, for example. And the 5 seconds reduction, plus the 500 range does make a big difference as well. But also, like, if you think of the W, though, like, what is it really going to be doing? It's not like he's going against like a Doctor Repulsor, for example, or anything else than that. There's not a big really need to really spec up the Mana Cylinder anytime soon, honestly. So I think I can understand the reasoning why. He's level 3, he's going to obviously get another point in Shards of Harkon. And yeah, like, I don't see the massive need for Mana Cylinder, though, honestly. There's not like a hero that desperately needs it from maybe like a Mage Bane or a Doctor Repulsor that has incredibly high mobility and always relies on the mana, for example.
Tremble, Thunderclaw is working like a charm as expected. 435 gold per minute and counting. He's got the Steam Boots now, 1600 plus. What do you think we should expect to see here as far as follow-up goes in Tremble?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of items you can go. Like I said before, I think Thunderclaw is definitely core, and that's what he's gone for. I think he will need a stronger head this game, though. Like, if you look at the amount of magic damage coming out from Pokemon, I think he'll need it to sort of survive in team fights. Whether he's going to go for that next, it depends on the sort of strategy from Tree, if they want to start taking these team fights, or if he wants to start maybe being useful in terms of ganks. Hellfire is always very good. It always has been for Tremble. You could also go Helm of Black Legion as well, get him a little bit more tanky. It really kind of depends. I think in this game, though, Stronger Head is definitely needed. And I think actually going maybe somewhat of a split-pushing build and get all middle lane of Flux.
Yeah, Discharge pushback right there. Is that going to be enough, though? Kenny's so tanky as always, but it's not enough. He eventually gets picked off. Lodestone even assisting with that Shatterstorm of his. See, Boxy TPing in, but could not get there nearly in time. So they were setting the note for a little bit, and Flux just did not realize how many numbers of... How many heroes more so were actually there from the opposition. So good pick off from Don. And looks like they're going to start grouping up here now and go for a push middle perhaps. Portal Key, by the way, on Soul Stealer, as well as an Energizer, of course. So middle tower. Oh, what a deny by Boxy. He throws Kraken in the air and he denies the tower right in front of him. Well played. So a little bit of a small victory there, but in the end, tower kill for Don. Bottom lane now. Lodestone coming in, actually. You can get a rocket drill. It doesn't look like it, though. Just kind of scaring them off, if anything, and they should be able to deny this tower. Finish out the Ballista. Yeah, they'll be fine.
But yeah, going back to the Tremble, I think he'll definitely need a stronger head. It looks like he might be going for that now. Brutalizer, obviously, like a lot of items that really can utilize the sort of the Impalers, the sort of the second attack. Brutalizer is one of those. Thunderclaw obviously is one of those. Even Savage Mace to an extent. I'd like to even see him perhaps go for a Hellflower though, because you do actually have a lot of mana issues with Tremble because of the Q. But not only that, he can start sort of split pushing with the Hellflower, and I think split pushing is probably maybe the name of the game here because Pokemon, their sort of strategy in their lineup, they're only good and great when they're as a team as 5. And so Tremble can, you know, and they don't have a lot of catch either on Pokemon. So if Tremble can start maybe split pushing, forcing Pokemon to sort of split up, then that might be the way to go. So if someone sort of TPs in, he might be able to kill him just with the Hellflower pickup. So I think that might what you go for. Brutalizer, Shrunken Head, and maybe Hellflower.
Top lane, look at this. There's the Boar sneak attack. Boxy coming in with the damage follow-up. Mass control, everything used. Yes, it will be enough for the kill. And Balthazar even gets credit for it with the final auto attack right there. You know, this goes back to earlier, exactly where, you know, you think back, what was it, 3-4 minutes ago maybe, where they did not actually kill Boris that was up here. He was able to spawn another mound, and thus, a couple minutes later, they end up for a successful on a Soul Stealer as a result of that. Riftrocker bottom lane. No, it's not enough damage. He barely lives. Ephemeral Forge from Moira. It's coming in. Has that Vortex. Not going to use it, though. She does use the Shards of Harkons, though. Gets the stun onto Lodestone. Lodestone trying to drill away. He will be fine initially. There's the stop, though, the TP with the Vortex. And that means Lodestone going to be picked off shortly after. So good follow-up there. And another kill coming out for Tree. So...
Man, more like that ability to sort of have that catch potential is so big. Like they obviously have the discharge from Fox, which is a nice catching mechanic, but with the Moira as well, they have a lot of even the Tremble mounds as well. They have a lot of ways of actually catching heroes even after the team fight sort of finished. It looks like actually Tremble's coming up top again, trying to take out this Tempest.
Yeah, he's middle lane in the meantime. Boxy doing some good damage, not going to be fine. He gets a tower kill, but at what cost here? Tempest In some trouble, Tremble joining the party as well. Uses the mount to cut through the trees. Tempest, he has Elemental Void. He's going to use it right here. Will this buy the time needed? Boris wasn't caught. That could be the difference maker. Eventually will fall. Torture misses a stun. And Solstier has a portal key, but he already used it to get even closer. Nice charge, though, from Kraken to catch Tremble at the very least. And they do get him killed. So big picture, you know, you could say it was worth it because it did buy enough time to get the counter kill.
Yeah, I think it's really worth it. And they killed the Tremble as well, which is really important. And Proboss, did Proboss get that kill? I know it's Serenia, but nonetheless, they still did kill him. But yeah, like I really liked seeing this battle. Like the whole tree lineup, actually, they're very active, they're very mobile on the map, and they're getting kills with their carry hero, which is a little bit rare to see. Normally, you see carry heroes or carry players just AFK farming the lane, but battles I was really making a difference, try and stop that as well. So nice to see.
It's an illusion versus an illusion. Morris versus Krakens, and yeah, she realized right there she was trying to maybe catch Kraken off guard, stealing their ancients, but that was just a fake one, so not the biggest steal in the world right there. And Sanitarius still being worked on Flux. A Krake a little bit slower here in game number 2, but with that said, 305 gold per minute. Actually farming pretty solid overall. Tremble, 2,600 gold saved up and counting. You got Solstier, though. He now has a Mighty Blade, so working towards that shrunken head himself here.
Man, something I just actually remembered, actually. I know it's definitely something that Frobust won't go because it's not really the quote-unquote normal build, but I actually love to go Storm Spirit after Portal Kill on Soul Stealer. And I know it sounds incredibly troll, but there's 2 reasons why it would be quite decent. First of all, it would actually be quite useful if you could disjoint any kind of the burst from Kinesis. For example, if we use mass control and burst him down, you can sort of disjoint it with the Storm Spirit. But also, because I think there might be a time in this game where Tree are going to start split pushing with the Tremble. If he picks up the Storm Spirit, he can easily burst down the Tremble if he times it correctly before he pops the Shrunken Head. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think it can work very, very well. The burst potential from Soulburst is insane. Flux middle lane, though. Yeah,
he gets charged in. He actually goes over the cliff right there. More Vortex. There we go. It stops their initiation. In comes a Wormhole in the background. And the counter by the big mass control comes out. Solstier dead. Down goes Torture. The run away from Dawn right here, trying to survive everyone else. Not going to be so for Tempest. He eventually gets picked off. Lowstone, he has a Shadow Story, but he chooses not to go in. But there you go. That's one of the main reasons they picked up Moya right there. That Arcane Vortex completely stalled the jump from Dawn and allowed to set up for the turnaround right there.
Yeah, I mean, and we thought, you know, can a solo support actually be able to do that? And Fusen clearly answered our questions right there. He doesn't even have tablet, doesn't even have portal key, yet he still does it, which is really just goes to how great his positioning was right there. Like if he does not get that off, Tremble and the whole team fight was most likely going to be one from Pokemon. Obviously, Tempest and Lodestone was coming in, so just great play coming out from Fusen right there, and they could easily turn it with the Shrunken Head from Tremble as well. So just really well play coming out from Fusen.
Yeah. Indeed it was, and you know, 20 minutes, as you say, his positioning had to be pretty on the ball right there, and he made sure of it. So yeah, definitely excellent play coming out from Fusen right there, and giving them the chance to really win that fight pretty big time. In fact, 10-5 hero kill lead now, 2,600 gold lead. You're looking at a 3,500 experience lead here as well. Kinesis middle lane, he's kind of just farming away at the creeps. You see Kraken nearby, almost as if he wants to jump, but Moira is nearby waiting once again, and we saw what happened last time. So she does get a point in that Mana Sunder, by the way, sitting on the level 2 Ephemeral Forge. Going to port behind Kraken, forces him to go a different direction. Strides the Heartgun comes out, the pull-in right there from Flux as well, and Kraken is going to be picked off. Yes, the Gorton on top to add insult to injury, and actually they make it a second one here. Torture, he's now in trouble. There's the Stasis Smash, and Tremble comes in, and why not throw in a Mass Control on top of it all when you have the cooldown for it. So double tap for Boxy right there. Look at that damage done overall. 22% of the overall damage done by Kinesis. Not too surprising, especially in Boxy's hands here.
And I mean, he's 8-0 and 2 out of technically out of like sort of a defensive tri-lane character from Pokemon. He just had such a great laning phase, and he's just continued to do so as well. Portal key though is up now from Kraken, and Lowson is closing on his portal key as well. Saucy already has his. Maybe they're going to wait from Portal Key on Tempest as well, and maybe try and go from there. Because the team fight from Pokemon, if it can land, then it's just going to be devastating. But I guess it all depends on Moira's positioning as well.
Yeah. Shrunken Head on Tremble. You see the Mighty Blade picked up by Flux right there. Gonna
Sorry,
be,
Brutalizer on Tremble most likely.
Did he? Oh, okay, yeah. Gonna
Yeah,
work towards that. There you go, yeah. On top of the Shrunken Head that he already has, of course. So, yeah, again, that's just another one of those strong items, especially with his passive there. The Impalers. Double attack. Used to be Gemini's ability, but they were like, no, let's give it the Tremble instead. Because...
It's a cool ability. I'm glad someone did start using it. Actually, top lane, Soul Stealer and Tempest trying to maybe defend this, perhaps.
They want to, but again, it's got to be a little bit discouraging, especially what happened last time as far as jumping in against. So they have very strong team fight, but knowing that it could just completely be stalled with one ability.
Oh, dear.
That's got to be unfortunate. Fremo forge in from Moira right here. She is going to pour it in. Shards of Harkons come out. There's a charge from Kraken. Is she going to Vortex in the background? She hasn't done it just yet. Release Kraken is out. There's the Vortex. A little bit later on. Here comes a Shatterstorm. Lodestone, though. He jumps in. That's going to explode right there. Trouble gets put in. The Elemental Fallen coming out. Dawn may have a chance for it. No, they do not. Soul Stealer and Tempest fall. And a hat trick for Boxy. What another Arcane Vortex. Screw them up big time.
Whenever we talk about big plays for Tree, we talk about Boxer, we think of maybe Root of Z, but Fusen, man, this game has been all him. Like that, again, Pokemon have a chance to win that team fight, but again, a perfect Arcane Vortex, and Tremble survives a 5-0 breaking. Like, oh my god, there's been one pick this game that's had such big impact. It's Fusen on that Moira, man. Like 15,000 experience, 1,000. Oh, man, I simply can't say how much work that Fusen's doing this game.
That was ridiculous. I mean, it really did look like for a second, though, Don, if a Soul Burst was able to get off right there. See,
exactly.
That is the interesting thing about Vortex. You know, with like the Shatterstorm, Losum purposely jumped into it, and smartly so, because that meant right as they came out, that was going to explode, as it did. So it did some good damage. If Soul Stealer was able to get Soul Burst off with that Elemental Void, Dawn could have been winning that fight at the very end. So it was very, very close, even with the big Arcane Vortex. But still, not enough, and ultimately, Tree does come out on top yet again. So it's got to be so discouraging for Dawn here, knowing that they have such strong AoE synergy, and that's twice now where it's been completely stalled by one ability. And here we go yet again. Kraken going to be jumped. Big burst from Kinesis coming out. Initially, Kraken somehow still alive. The big counter initiate from Lowstone with that Shatterstorm once again on top of the rocket. Drill Tempest holding his ground as well. Doesn't have the Elemental Void though. So far they kill Tremble though. They take out Flux. They get Kinesis as well. And the Arcane Vortex this time not nearly as powerful as it was before. So at least Dawn finally gets a fight in their favor here.
Yeah, that was just a little bit overextension from Tree. They were trying to dive the tier 2 tower even when some of the ultimates were still down, I think, coming out from Tree. But yeah, it's still not the biggest of deals. They still are very, very much ahead. But again, I think we saw it in Game 1 as well. Tree, they have a slight tendency to give Pokemon a fighting chance. And against maybe the top teams, perhaps maybe against Sync, you know, they will capitalise on it a lot more. But still, you know, Pokemon, after that, still back in it though.
Yeah. At least remaining in it, and the game continues at the very least. But just like game number 1, Tree's been in control pretty much since the beginning of this game.
Yeah. And
they haven't looked back. So Dawn sure putting up a solid fight, especially after that last fight there. But so a lot of work to go. Now they do have a Soul Stealer who's going to be picking up the Shrunken Head very shortly here, and also going to be level 16 shortly on top of that. So that's a level 3 Soul Burst. We have not yet to see him use the Soul Burst yet because of how these fights have been playing out here. So not to get too ahead of ourselves in Tree's favor, that there's most certainly still some good hope here for Dawn, and just takes a little bit of a error even on the part of Tree, or just great execution on the part of Dawn to make it happen. But Tremble, they're scouting around as a team right here. They're looking, but
they're so efficient as well. Like whenever, I mean, look at the amount of mounds on the map though. Like really, Balthazar is playing this hero to its fullest potential though. Like you saw, like I think it was it Probus. He was farming this medium camp over here, and instantly after he killed it, he TV'd out because he knows the threat from Tremble. And it's not really like Torture can really go around killing these mounds though, because there's just too much resources to really put into that. And if they don't kill him, then Tremble has complete global sort of effect and influence in this game. So it's just really hard. They kind of have to group up as 5, but if they do that, then they're going to start losing out in terms of farm. So Tree, particularly Balthazar, is playing this very, very well.
Yeah. Roaming through the jungle here once again as Tree keeps going back to that good play and baiting out Flux right here. See if anyone falls for it, but as you see on the minimap, probably not going to be the case. not really in the vicinity is Dawn right here. In fact, they get the bottom tower killed. Zibbe on that lodestone, managing to about 1,200 gold saved up, and then Soulstealer in middle, and he's somewhat by himself. No, he does have Tempest nearby now, but yeah, I was gonna say he needs to be very careful because little does he know, a little bit over here into their own jungle, they are possibly going to be jumped if they're not careful here. So they're going to play it pretty safe though, and that means Tree will be forced to kind of retreat here in a sense, not just sit here doing nothing. There's a Shrunken Head though on a Crack 8 playing the Flux, and again more farm going to be coming out for Tremble now to be pursuing towards his next item. The spell shards on Kinesis, he's had that for a little bit here, but definitely worth noting as well once again. 18 more 100 gold saved up here on top of that. We'll see if maybe more of a crowd control item next in line, either the Hellflower or perhaps the Sheep Stick. Possibly ideal here. Top lane, Tempest, he needs to be careful, and this is why. Fremo Forge comes in, there's a port sneak attack, and Tempest in a lot of trouble now. And dead trouble, really. Here comes the counter initiation, though. Kraken, he charges in. Soulstealer, he has a soul burst. Is he going to use it? He pops there's the Archivore, takes out once again. It will stall the initial damage. They come out shortly after. The Wormhole initiation perfectly on top of that. There's still no soul burst being used, but it doesn't matter. The right clicks are strong, and they take out Treble as a result. They will also pick off, it looks like, who do they get? They got Lodestone there, but they keep following. Kinesis now going to be in trouble as he gets caught, and he eventually gets killed. So no soul burst needed, says Probusk, and he ends up with a hat trick just with the right clicks. You know what, though? Neither Flux nor Moira were actually there.
Yeah, that's the reason why it ended so badly, honestly. They just tried to get a pick off on Tempest was fine, but they just stayed a little bit too long, and Pokemon had a great response when the gate happened. They instantly TP'd it and tried to capitalize on it, and as they did. But still, I guess, I mean, with them already focusing and sort of spending a lot of resources up top from Pokemon, they did actually lose their Tier 1 or Tier 2 tower middle lane, actually. So, still not too bad coming out from Tree overall.
Have a pretty crazy result update here. Looks like Ryan My Rocket takes game number 2 over Sync Esports.
No way. Imba Pengu, man.
Imba Pengu.
That must have been a Silhouette game, man. I don't even know, but
possible.
It must be.
Possible.
Who knows?
So that's going to a game 3. Definitely keep an eye on that here. As far as
if they beat them, that would be insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good friends with Pengu, and I was talking to him actually before the game, and he said, I don't think I have a great chance, but we're definitely going to give it our best shot.
Well,
so.
you know, to be frank, Sync has been, as far as, sure they've been scrimmaging, but you can tell, I mean, they're in a very comfortable spot in Season 3 right here as far as being in that first place. You don't necessarily need to win out to secure anything other than, well, prize pool is always nice, of course. And this being the biggest cycle prize pool, you think that in itself would almost be some incentive. But, yeah, it's so maybe getting caught off guard and a long break as well on top of it all.
Yeah, I mean, Rima Rock is actually a really good team as well. Imba Pengu is the captain as well, and he's actually a great captain, to be fair. Very, very positive player, regardless of how bad some of the games can be. So, yeah. Good on them.
And keep an eye on that. See how that one plays out there. But Boris scouting around here. This torture, you are dead. Yeah, nope, he's going to be fine. Nope, nothing Flux can do right
No mini stun. No mini stun, unfortunately.
Gets away. Lodestone is still in the vicinity with an Invis rune, but by himself. Probably not going to do too much here. He has potential to kill by himself, but he needs a squishy target, and Flux does not fall under that category. So instead we'll go down to the bottom lane and pick up a little bit of farm out there at least before Portal King away. Soulstealer now has a Firebrand picked up. So, you know, Quincy pointing out earlier that Soulstealer is one of these kind of carry heroes that, you know, as any carry hero really, you know, frankly, it excels off the great GPM, but Soulstealer seems like he just really has the high GPM. To ultimately winning performances, because he's even pointing out 550 or less, I think it was, on Probusk. He's actually 0-2 with Soulstealer, and that's with 550 gold per minute, even. So it's he needs around that 650, 700 to ultimately be victorious. It feels like so.
I think that's kind of what Dawn was though. Oh, Soulstealer.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of trouble, and he's gonna be fine.
Oh,
what did I just see there?
Oh, Lodestone going back
behind. Yeah, he's going to be slowed down here initially. He should be fine, though. Yeah, he's going to be fine. I just saw no fire play purchased, though, by Tremble.
Really nice. Like, again, just really synergizing with the Impalers, obviously, because the Nullfire hits twice, the Thunderclaw can hit twice, obviously the Brutalize can hit twice as well, and it's probably going to be a Savage Mace last time as well, to be honest, just to really take effectiveness of the Impalers. Obviously, he's quite squishy, though. He does obviously have the stronger head, but still only 1,860 life, which isn't a lot, honestly. And that's why I know it sounds... I mean, I'm going to keep on going on about it, but I think Storm Spirit on Sorcerer could be decent in that respect. Like, if they can Storm Spirit into maybe like a Tempest Hole, then they can completely nullify the stronger head from Tremble, and they can kill him instantly. Like, he is a lot of the, if not most of the damage coming out from Tree. So if they can burst him down with, you know, they have the ability to do so. You know, could be the
he
reason.
Jumps in. What's going to happen this time? Well, guess what? Just like before, Arcane Vortex comes out. They did catch Riftwalker, though, so she's not going to be letting a wormhole to follow it up. Oh, she avoids the stun. There's a discharge, and now Kraken, he's the one in a lot of trouble. Auto attacks. They're going to prove to be too much. The big elemental void, though. Here comes Mora with the stun. It's a little late, though. Soul Burst comes out, and boom goes the dynamite. However, Flux is standing his ground not long enough. There he goes down. Mora falls. Tremble not being there. Well, kinda, he's in the background. He's now on the run. Look at Pox. He's like, I dare you to move. I dare you to keep going. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
The damage is insane. I mean, sure, it's a support Tempest, but still. That was basically full to nothing right there. But anyways, at least a little bit of signs of life at the end. But no, that was a victory for Dawn right there.
Oh, God, no.
That was big. I mean, again, they caught Riftwalker, though.
Exactly.
And that was a big start.
And not only that, though, again, one of the heroes from Tree, which wasn't in that team fight. First, it was the top lane. Now it was the middle lane. And I mean, if Tree, either if they're going to get caught out or they're going to go for these ganks, they either have to make sure they kill him quickly or make sure the team is there as 5, because they can't take these team fights 4 on 5, or else they're going to lose these team fights. Bottom lane, Lodestone. Yeah, you're dead.
Stasis Smash
oh my
right
god,
here. He's trying to get away, but yeah.
Oh my god, you see the amount of mana drain that had on. Like he could have perhaps got away if he got the rocket throw out, but the mana drain
it's just too much.
From the Nullfire was so much.
It's a double attack. It's just like your mana just disappears, man.
That's correct.
An extra reason. So yeah, you see Tremble all about those attack instance items such as Brutalizer, Thunderclaw, and Nullfire Blade. So it makes a lot of sense.
He might. I think if he's going to go greedy, I think he's going to go Savage Mace last time as well to even sort of go for more synergy with the Impalers. But as I said before, though, he's so squishy though. Like if they can get maybe a Tempest hold onto him, and if Soulstealer can increase his right click damage, I think they can actually kill the Tremble. And Tremble does kill actually the Courier. So and they're going to take this Congo most likely, I think. And Tree don't want to contest without Lodestone, so free Congo for them.
Yeah, they don't have Elemental Void, no Lodestone as you mentioned. There's just no, it'd be silly to even try right there. So Tremble gets the token of life on. With that said, Tree doing a smart thing right there, realizing that and being like, okay, well that should be a free Congo as it was. So well played on their part. Another 2,800 gold already saved up on Tremble. So as we're talking about, we'll see what he ultimately does go for next here. There's the Frostburn, Iceburn I should say, picked up on Flux. And eventually going to be a Frostal Skull, of course. Again, extra powerful on him because of the discharge and how it applies that ultimate in the AoE, or the slow to everyone with the discharge use in the global aspect. Level 13 Moira, by the way. What does that do to the Arcane Vortex? It does reduce the cooldown a little bit and gives it a little more non-lethal magic damage. So not the biggest deal in the world, but slightly less cooldown. Definitely impactful.
What was I going to say? Something. Oh yeah, I remember now. So like with the token on Tremble, actually I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. Obviously it's a good thing for Tree, but you have to remember, I don't think they can even go high ground against Pokemon, because look at the AoE synergy from Pokemon. Like going high ground against that team is going to be so difficult, because like going up this sort of choke point to the tier 3 tower is just incredibly dangerous when they have so much AoE synergy. So although obviously they lost Congo or they lost token, I think Pokemon shouldn't be in too much of a bad situation unless they get picked off again. Yeah. I think Tree, what they're going to try and do, if anything, they need to try and take a team fight outside of base, because going fighting at base with all these AoE synergies from Pokemon is going to be too much, even if they have token or not on Tremble. So they have to try and take up sort of disjointed team fights, and this is where it is. Torturer.
You're
this
dead.
Could be a good start. Yeah, it's a good start. And again, they're utilising the smoke to try and take team fights and try and take engagements, without any kind of sort of say so from Pokemon, and now they can start pushing 4v5, I guess.
Yeah. Now, this is so unlike last game. This isn't as impactful as that Pyromancer kill. I mean, they still have a big threat with their AoE synergy and everything, and decent creep clear, of course, like Soul Stealer. So, but that doesn't mean that Tree's going to be difficult to stop. With that said, they're a freight train right now, and they're just rolling forward. He did get the full charged hammer, by the way, so at least upgrading that first. And going to be able to apply that buff if he finds it necessary. He's taking some good damage right here off the bat. He may drop initially. Again, he's got the token. That's a lot of early damage. Plus, pulls him in. He's going to fall shortly after, though. Tremble does go down as well. There's the Wormhole. Wormhole goes in, but Tempest avoided it. He has a little bit. No, it was canceled, actually. Soul Stealer does get picked off, though. He buys back immediately, ports in. That might be dangerous, though. Yeah, he needs to cancel that because his teammates are all dead in the meantime. Wow, I mean, again, it just seems like Dawn has decent chance, and then they just all melt. They just all get jumped themselves. The Wormhole was big. Even though it didn't catch Tempest, it did enough. And then Boxy, I'm sure, was plenty damage there as well.
Yeah, the Shards of High Form was the thing that stopped the Tempest ultimate, though, which that was, again, good play coming from Fruzen. I think it's Ephemeral Forge, actually. I think he buffed his Ephemeral Forge, and then obviously Tempest, kind of similar to the Pharaoh Q. Even if you catch him in the Tempest hole, he can get stopped regardless.
Yeah.
And they're going to most likely lose the second Rax as well.
No Arcane Vortex even necessary, yeah. How about that? Tempest goes back in with a stun. Again, no ultimate. That was a nice purge, though, by Tremble. He purges Kinesis, purges the stuns off of him, and you see get away in the process. So they won't get the second set of racks, but still, they got the middle one. They're in a very comfortable spot now.
I mean, but you still saw the AoE synergy, though. Like, they did obviously burst down the Tremble and use his token, but they didn't have Torture. I think that was almost a big deal. There was two things. Torture wasn't there, obviously, was one of them, but Tempest Ultimate being stopped by Mura, again, a big factor in that. They did lose their middle racks, but it could have gone worse, honestly, seeing as it was a 4v5 in the end. And they still got their top racks, but they need to make use of the ultimates. They try and take more team fights, because the last couple of team fights have been somewhat in favour of Pokemon. They just can't give away token again, though, because if they burst down the turn ball, as I said before, that I think they can win these team fights. It's just if the execution is there.
Yeah. You got Riftwalker roaming around here looking for an opening, but not going to find one for the time being. Again, Dawn just going to try to play that. We need to get Soul Stealer more fat here, 540 gold per minute. So again, usually would be considered a pretty high GPM, and it still is, definitely, but it's safe to say, and so the feeling of the game and everything, and being Soul Stealer after all, needs to be a little higher even. So he's trying, nearly 3,900 more gold saved up here. Talk about the possibility of, I'm thinking about it. Something like a wing bow here I think wouldn't be a bad option. Granted, though, Savage Mace on Tremble, as you pointed out, could be very possible, so we'll see what direction Probusk decides to go here with his item choice. Shieldbreaker, by the way, was buffed, worth noting, too, in the last patch. And again, Soul Stealer is kind of one of those heroes that could be a candidate, but
the only problem if you go Shieldbreaker, though, is that item is kind of more of a somewhat carry snowball item. Like, you want to get it maybe early, like sometimes you sort of see it on Silhouette. It's not it can have an impact obviously later on in the game, but as like a late hard carry game, you kind of don't want to get that kind of item because sometimes there's a better unique attack modifiers, like obviously Symbol of Rage. Torture nearly dying again to the burst from Kinesis, but not enough. I don't know if you should go Wingboy either, because like you said, Savage Mace is most likely in the works for Tremble. What did Tremble actually buy? I didn't see.
Let's see the courier.
Savage?
It is a Frostwolf Skull.
Frostwolf, yeah, he needs to get tanky, so that's understandable as well. So now the sort of team fights for Pokemon are going to be even harder, though, because I don't know if they're even going to be able to bring Tremble down. He's at 3,000 HP, plus the Dark Swarm obviously taking 20% less damage. I do like the item choice coming out from Browser, though, because I think he realised that, if I die in these team fights, we're probably going to lose the team fight. So
yeah,
good itemization from him, and that just made it a ton harder from Pokemon. And he's going to go Wingbow now. He sees that Tremble's gone the Frostwolf Skull, so makes sense.
Yeah, of course, that's going to be the second Frostwolf Skull, or more so, Flux is going to have the second Frostwolf Skull here. He too is already working on it, so gonna have a couple of those thrown in. Storm Spirit on Riftwalker. I know you're talking about the nerf. Remember, speaking of items and balance patch, of course, that also even got nerfed or buffed in a sense. As,
really good.
Yeah, less cost now on the pattern, as well as even more move speed on top of that. So Riftwalker taking advantage of that here, making the best of it. You see the Veiled Rot on a couple of heroes in the meantime, and also on Tree, at least in their inventory here. Barbed Armor on low stunning. No, it usually is the go-to, but again with the Nullfire Blade, that could be purged off very quickly. Now, granted, he might be using it in other purposes, but still, there's a possibility here. And you see a little bit of group up middle lane, but Tree scares off Don, anyone that was nearby. And they're definitely going to be waiting for another Kongor here, most likely. Again, it's kind of dangerous because you are going into a small area against a very, very heavy AoE-centric team. So
a massive pickup, though. Tempest picks up his stronger head now, so the only real way that Tree can deal with a Tempest Ultimate is actually the Arcane Vortex.
No,
but luckily...
Wormhole, too.
Oh, Wormhole as well, yeah.
It is
sorry
superior.
That,
you know, I meant to actually bring that up earlier because I feel like this is one of those. I know we talk about it all the time. Like, sure, they still have a way to stop it, but it's still worth it. I don't know if it's still worth this game, honestly, because it's almost like it's guaranteed. It's been stopped every time except for one, I think, where he was able to somehow manage to channel it. I don't know, though. I think you may know arguing going for, but again, it's what else would he get? Maybe like a Storm Spirit. I don't know.
I think the biggest thing is that if Pokemon can actually catch like a massive Tempest Ultimate, they might have ways of dealing with it, really. I guess they have to try and catch Riftwalker plus maybe one or two others, really. There's a lot of ways to actually deal with it, so I just think it goes back to obviously a good draft from Tree. But in the last two, I think Tempest Ultimates have been stopped from actually Shards of Harkon, which obviously would be stopped with Stronger End. So at least it's one less way. So it just forces Tree to make sure that their execution is perfect. So it's kind of forcing your teammates, forcing your enemies that they have to play perfect, otherwise you will capitalise on their mistakes. So. And like I said, what else can he go for? If he goes Resto Stone, he's probably going to die from the wormhole after anyway. So perhaps he could go Resto, but I think Shrunken is still decent as well. Like, there's a lot of magic damage, even if you get rid of just the Tempest Helmet. Like, he might be bursted down just from Kinesis, for example, just from the magic damage. So I think it's still a good item.
Yeah.
Whether he can get stopped through BKB or not.
See, look at this, Boxy. He's like, somebody go to the creep wave. I promise it's safe. Yeah, it's not so safe, and I think Don's pretty aware of that. They're not going to risk getting jumped right here, so Lodestone on the outskirts with his teammate Soul Stealer. They're in a fairly, I don't know about this, and they need to be careful, because again, they're kind of split up from the teammates. In fact, Boxy is going to jump on Torture yet again, and down goes Torture. It works every time, it seems like. So he did pop the Shrunken Head, to be fair, so.
Man, no buyback, obviously, from Torturer. And I know that it's only a Torturer, but it's the same thing that happened last time, though. They took a team fight 4v5, and it's obviously going to be in favour of Tree, but Tree, they don't actually want to push. They're still going to try and respect, obviously, the insane amount of team fight coming out from Pokemon, so they're going to back off. And I think it's fine as well. They're actually out-farming them completely as well now, because obviously Rex has been pushed in middle lane. It's kind of splitting the map quite heavily, actually. Forcing Pokemon to keep on pushing it out as much as possible.
Yeah, it's continuing to be very, very difficult for them with where they're at. But again, that's why you just feel like they're definitely not out of it yet, even with the golden experience as high as it is, because of the AoE potential. The one team fight is all it's going to take to build that momentum and get the Soul Stealer crazy. So it's still a possibility. He has that full wing bow finish as well. There's a Frostal Skull, though, finished on Flux now, on top of already having one on Tremble. And hell, Tremble even has another 3,300 gold saved up himself. So, in fact, he already has a 5-second Shrunken Head. I wouldn't be surprised to see him rebuy that here in the near future. He could do it now, technically, but gonna hold on to that gold here for the time being until he absolutely needs to do it. Or feels in a better spot at least. Kongor again, he's up, and you can tell both teams in the vicinity. About 45 minutes in right now.
And look at Boris on the top lane, really putting pressure on Pokemon. Yeah. And obviously, I talked a little bit about obviously him split pushing, but it is a big factor in middle lane, though. They're going in.
There's the jump Arcane Vortex, so it's going to stall the Riftwalker. Got caught initially. All the Shrunken Heads coming out. The Elemental Boy, the Soul Burst on top. They burst down Riftwalker. Will they get Tremble? Tremble's falling. The Shadow Storm, yes, they will. Tremble goes down. Flux in trouble as well. Flux going to end up falling, most likely he will, so they get the tanky targets. Now Tremble buys back, by the way. He's trying to get here in time. Can he is the question. Looks like he does pour it in. Mora in the background, that's just the illusion though, but Tremble is back, and Dawn knows that. They are in full retreat mode right now, and they will be successful with it. So Dawn does come out on top of that team fight.
That Tempest Ultimate, man. 4-man Tempest Ultimate with Shrunken Head. So, yeah, that Shrunken Head is useful.
Yes, it is.
But simply, if you can catch the Riftwalker. And something that actually people have mentioned before is that sometimes, like, with Riftwalker, and actually Ro8, sometimes, like, he does get actually caught out sometimes with his positioning. So, yeah, I think the Shrunken Head was definitely useful there. Like, if he doesn't catch 3 or 4 in his Tempest Ultimate, they're not going to win the team fight. So, great great play from Iceland Gogo there, catching the Riftwalker.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that was going to stop him. Like you saw, Kinesis, I think, was actually outside, and he could have stopped, obviously, if Tempest didn't have the Stronger Ned. So, yeah, Stronger Ned definitely worked well. He's probably going to make his way through a Resto side eventually, so good job.
Absolutely. I mean, he is out of buybacks as well, so worth noting there, and that's so it doesn't really have the necessity to save up for that by any means. So, Resto Stone, it's ways off, but if they actually manage to steal Conqueror here, this is huge.
Yeah, this is risky. This is really risky.
It's risky, but they probably have to make risky plays at this point.
Oh, look at this.
Fair. Oh, Mora coming in. Nope, it gets killed right away. Now, Lowstone put himself in kind of a trap spot, but they're going to get it. It's going to be so close there. It's the pull in until they get the vision, and Dean comes boxing. Now, Congress still some good life. They're trying to ninja, but they don't get there in time. There's a big burst on the Soul Stealer, as well as the Mora mana burn right there. So Soul Stealer can't soul burst just yet. They're releasing Kraken on top. Treble does get caught, though. Riftwalker Wormhole comes in. Soul Stealer locked down. He eventually gets killed. He got the token, though, just before. Will it matter? He starts portal key. No, we can't portal key over the ledge. He has a soul burst, but the brutalizer locked down too much. And a double tap for Boxy. What a chaotic fight. As you said, it was so risky, and that's exactly why.
Yeah, and Boxy actually had in the same position. He actually was up here on the trees, and he was just auto-attacking and spamming his telekinetic control. And actually, top line, they're still going in, though. Buybacks.
Trying to do a ultimate hold right here, knowing that this could possibly be the game. There's the Arcane Vortex. You see a Lowstone, he's being pushed back. Soul Steer, those are just illusions up in the front lines. The real one in the back fight for now, but I say for now lightly because all of a sudden now he's gone on that slow effect. He gets the Soul Burst off, but it doesn't matter. He goes down, and that should do it. Tree's going to take game 2, and as a result, take the series 2-0 over Dawn. What a series it was, though. I mean, both games really a case of Tree really was in control throughout the whole game, but
I agree.
Dawn fought throughout it very well, honestly, and made it very interesting to say the least. But
oh no, definitely. I think Dawn played actually good, like if not great in both games, but Tree just outclassed them, put simply. Whether it was in the draft, whether it was in the laning phase, or just even in the late game sort of decision makings, Tree just seemed on point in everything they did. But I mean,